Good evening, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining me today. I'm going to give it a couple more seconds, couple more minutes maybe, and see if I can get some people to come on in. Good evening. I hope everyone's had a pretty good day today. It's almost Friday. But today is Thriving Solo Thursday for the single parents. So, welcome, 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 and thank you for joining me today. For those of you who may not know me, I'm Coach Sheree, the single parent life coach, and my mission is to empower single parents, embrace their unique journeys, discover their inner strength, and create a fulfilling life with confidence, self love, and purpose. So come on in, come on in. We're going to be talking about the topic understanding single parenthood as a single parent while maintaining your individuality. I know some of us are timid in doing that because you're so big on taking care of your kids and you don't want to do it in a way of where they are overlooked. And so been there, done that. So it just takes a couple things that you need to do. And so we're going to talk about that tonight. Again, the topic is understanding single parenthood as a single parent while maintaining your individuality. So what we're going to do to help balance those things, we're going to go ahead and focus on a few things, a few key areas, such as self identity and personal growth. We're going to talk about possible, time management and boundaries. We're going to talk about emotional and mental wellness. And also, we'll talk about building a support system and community. And community doesn't have to always be the people you think, like family or close friends. Sometimes it's just a network of single parents. So I'm going to give a few more minutes, see if I can get a couple more people to chime in. Let's see here. So just going to make sure my Instagram is working. Yes, it is working. Great. So without further ado, we're going to keep moving right along. And here we go. So as a single parent, myself, I do understand how balancing, raising children and working and living your own dreams or pursuing your own dreams, it can be sort of challenging. But understanding how to continue being the single parent that you are, but also maintaining your individuality. Because again, you have dreams and goals, and why not pursue them? Just because you're a single parent doesn't mean that you can or that you can't. So let's just dive right into both roles, single parenting and individuality. So, the first thing we're going to talk about is key focus areas such as self identity and personal growth. Definition of self identity is your understanding of who you are outside of your roles, including like your passions, your dreams, and your purpose. So, we all have a job, so that's a role there. Then we are a parent. So then, of course, first we're a parent. So that's a role. Then you're a sister, a daughter, or a son, or a brother, or a cousin. Whoever you may be, that's not who you are completely. You're an individual. So I have some keys and strategies I want to share with you today. So let's talk about that. So reflect on who you are or who you were before becoming a parent and what that looked like then versus who you are today and how that shaped who you are today. So, and then think about what brings you joy. What is it that you can do that you do normally, whether it's your regular job or just a hobby? What is it that you do that brings you joy now, happiness? Sometimes it can be singing, it could be dancing, um, it could be reading a book, it could be hosting events, decorating, whatever that may be. You want to make sure you see what brings you joy versus, oh, it's just a job, it's a routine. So then you can use a journal, use tools like a journal, a vision board. A lot of people are doing vision boards, the beginning of the year, making sure that you stick to your goals and your dreams. And so that way you can reconnect with your passions, whether it's to purchase your first home, buy a brand new car, or just to be in tune to who you are internally, working on you, being the best version of who you are. And so sometimes that does take work. That does take a lot of journaling. I do it myself. And so it is necessary in order to figure out who you are, in order to know what your identity is. And then understanding, where do I need to grow at? Where am I still lacking knowledge at? And be in tune to who you are, loving on you, understanding who you are, set aside small, intentional time each week and to pursue that hobby or that goal. And so that way, your outcome could be, having a renewed sense of self fulfillment beyond just being a parent. Um, you can also have, confidence, and you are motivated to achieve those personal dreams. So moving right along, in order to do that, the biggest thing you want to make sure you can do is time manage and boundaries. And so definition of time management involves creating balance in your life, while boundaries are the limits you set to protect your time and energy. So one thing that I would say, as far as a key strategy, a key step of strategy, is to establish a daily routine that includes moments for self-care. Whether you have to get up extra early in the morning to do it, or you have to set aside time, right before you go to bed at night. Take time to do self-care. It's important. It allows you to de-stress. It allows you to have a moment to yourself, whether that's just sitting in silence is necessary. So set aside that time. Also, write down what you have to do. For me, I'll set an alarm on my phone. And even from the time that I get up throughout the day, starting work, picking up kids from school, taking one to practice, I have to do that right after this live. So you have to make sure that you're able to balance yourself. And, also the boundaries are necessary because that way you avoid giving something or someone too much time, or time away from what you've already planned for yourself. Um, you have to communicate those boundaries clearly with co-parents, family, even your children, because when it's necessary for that self time, you got to replenish yourself. I always say things like, you can't pour from an empty cup. If you're overwhelmed, overstimulated, and you're stressed, and you don't have someone to go to and talk to support you, or you just don't take that time to do those things, like walking outside, taking a breather, or sitting in your vehicle and just, having that time where you can say, okay, you know what, let me just de-stress, whether it's sitting in your vehicle and listen to music. Something that simple can change your day, especially if it's a stressful day. And so set those boundaries, communicate them clearly, especially with your children, because a lot of times when they need something, they're going to come to you and say, hey, I need 1, 2, 3 ABC. Or they may not even say it. They might just come to you and just expect it, especially if you have kids under 3. They're just going to come to you and say, hey, I want to eat. I'm hungry. Or they're going to cry. You got to figure out what it is that's going on with them. So make sure that your time that you need to set aside for yourself, it is planned, like you have planned that time. Also, practice saying no to things that drain you and don't allow you to prioritize your time for yourself. No is necessary. It doesn't mean that I know sometimes when I say no, it can come across rude, it can come across inconsiderate, but if I don't put me first, I will always, always function from an empty cup. That's not a good way to live my life. And so that's why I am here to help other single parents, moms and dads, to understand that it's so important to say no. You don't want to overextend yourself in areas that you should be saying no in. So, those possible outcomes that you may have after communicating your boundaries clearly, and having time management, setting those goals, making sure that you have that self-care time, is it should improve balance between parenting and personal time. It should reduce guilt, and I think we've all been there. Not being having to work and not able to spend that quality time with your children. That can be something that is a guilt trip. It's a lot, and it can be overwhelming. So hopefully that will reduce the guilt and increase energy and focus on what truly matters, like your time to yourself, so that you are available and capable of being there for your children or any other priority things that you prioritize. And so it's really important that we go into this next one and talk about emotional and mental wellness, because as single parents, we do it all. Um, we do it all. We have to wake up, we have to get ready for work, we have to get kids to school, we have to pay bills. Um, and those I don't like. So I don't think anybody does. But we have to do it all. We got to remember to do those things. Even if you manage your time wisely and you set these alarms and you set reminders on your calendar and you write it down. Sometimes some things can be, you know, missed or forgotten because we do get overwhelmed. We do get become stressed and we do get tired. And so sometimes our bodies tell us to sleep, or to rest, and we may not have time to watch our favorite, or binge our favorite show or a sitcom or what have you. So, emotional and mental wellness. Emotional wellness is the ability to manage stress and maintain resilience, while mental wellness focuses on your overall psychological health. Now, I'm a big advocate for therapy. It's so important. Mental health is one of the things that is overlooked in the healthcare system. It's not reinforced. It's not something that said, I know when I was growing up, people say, oh, well, that person's just crazy. No, well, maybe they had a stressful time. Maybe they went through something that caused them to act a certain way. And maybe they didn't have that self-care time. Maybe they didn't have time management, didn't time manage. Um, so you want to make sure that you're emotionally stable when it comes to dealing with all of your responsibilities as a single parent. And so that way, like I say, that you can't pour from an empty cup, but you also can't do the things that you desire for yourself. So if that means building your business from the ground, or if that means just having a book club, if that means um, taking a walk every day, or just reading a book or watching your favorite show, again, you want to make sure you have that time, or even taking a vacation or a staycation. So that is self-care, and so the next thing you want to look at, these key strategies and steps. You want to identify your stress triggers. Whew. So when you talk about stress triggers, it could be that you are working. I know for me, I work from home. So when working from home, a lot of times when the kids come home, they're busy. They're doing 1, 2, 3, ABC. And I may only have 30 minutes remaining, of work. And so a lot of times they are asking me questions, doing this, and I'm trying to wrap up the day. And so sometimes they don't ask, Mom, how was your day? Or sometimes they do ask, and I may not have the capability to even tell them or respond to them at that time. So being interrupted, sometimes can be that that stress trigger because I haven't had time to de-stress from work to being a parent, from being an employee to being, a parent. And so a lot of times that's overlooked by our kids because they don't understand it, they don't know it. So the best thing to do is when that's a stress trigger, you know, sit down with them and have a conversation. If they're old enough. So if you got those toddlers and younger ones, yeah, you can talk to them, but make sure that you have, them you set up in a room or area where they can play or watch their favorite show, something that will give you that time to maybe go take a bubble bath or something to make you say, okay, you know what? I just need a moment, whether that's to go out on your balcony or your porch or just to walk outside in your backyard to just take a walk and take a breather. Sometimes that's necessary. And so I think I may have a couple comments. Let me try to see if I can look at those. Yes, yes, definitely plan time for yourself. And then I have another, see here. So right up. Yes, I agree. Finding triggers that you didn't know you had, it even depending on the age that they're at, sometimes you may find it at 1, you may find it at 2, you may find it at 4, you may find it at 6. Mine are 24, 17, and one is 15 on Saturday. And so sometimes at each age, especially the teenage years or adolescent years or the years that they become they're developing and they're in those puberty stages or pre-puberty stages, they are, I know right now for my youngest one, she's figuring out who she is. And so it's not that I haven't been here, but it's a different child, a different perspective, a different mindset. And I'm older. So it's like, okay, let me go pray, or just let me have a one-on-one with you because, of course, I don't want to lash out because that's not going to get us anywhere. I don't want to scream at you. That's not going to get us anywhere, because I was told, sit down, shut up, stay in a child's place when I was a kid. That didn't work for me. I was one that was inquisitive. I was one you had to take out time with and talk to. So now that's something that I do with my children because it's necessary. They have so much access to so many different things and in this world. And they are sometimes finding their identity through social media. You can't take it from them. You have to teach them how to limit their access, limit their access, or limit their time with it. Kind of goes back to time management. So when it comes to identifying what those stress triggers are, you want to develop healthy coping mechanisms like taking a deep breath or exercising, finding something that you can do, whether it's listening to a certain type of music that relaxes you. You want to take out time to do those things and just say, hey, give me a minute. Turn your phone off, turn social media off so that you can have that time to where you can regroup and de-stress. So like I said beforehand, seek therapy, join a support group to try to process your emotions and gain a perspective. Because sometimes talking it out can give you a different perspective. And sometimes if you talk it out, you've already worked out your resolution, just hearing yourself and, talk to someone else. So big advocate for therapy. Or you can talk to a life coach. That's me. So again, it goes back to self-care too, and even taking time to meditate or journal. It's so important. So your possible outcome in doing these things would be to reduce your stress and burnout. Burnout is a big one. And then having a greater emotional stability and mental clarity. Clarity is necessary so that you can be who you are to yourself and most importantly to your children. Last but not least, we're going to talk about building a support system and community. Now, a support system is basically your network of people who you offer emotional, practical, or financial support to. Sometimes, as single parents, we do have to stick together. So sometimes I've had friends to help me and I've helped other friends. So and they have been single parents. Some of them have not been single parents. They may have been single parents before marriage. And so for me, that's big. People that to help you, and they don't have to tell everybody. Because you got people out here that are help and they want to talk about it. Well, girl, I had to help Sheree. Really? Why did you help me then? If it's not coming from a genuine place, you can keep it. Just keep it. Because we all go through something. Some of us are just more, or some of us are just on a level to where we understand, hey, you know what? Yes, I do need help. And sometimes it took years to get to that place to say, okay, all right, I'm going to ask someone. And sometimes it still may be an issue for you to ask, but make sure that support system is a group of people or a community of people or a community of women or men that you trust. Trust is a big one, and that's going to be honest, about when to pay them back. Oh, well, just keep it, just give it back to them when you can. Nope, nope, nope. Have a time when you're going to pay them that person back, because that way, because I always say if you got to borrow, most of the time you can't pay it back. But if that person is willing to assist you or help you, definitely figure out a plan. If you can pay them back, if you can't, just talk to people, communicate, and say, hey, I just don't have it because I had something else to come up, and they'll be understanding. Now, whether or not you'll be able to borrow from them again, that may be a whole nother story. So we won't get into all of that, but a support system is a network of people who will give you emotional, practical, or financial support. Also, it gives you a safe place, a safe space. It also gives you, someone who can probably talk you off the ledge. It gets overwhelming sometimes, and you need someone who can bring you back. Because as single parents, we're not just dealing, like I stated beforehand, with, paying bills. We are individual people, before we were single parents. So we had dreams and goals, aspirations, but that became my responsibility, parenting a child into this world, our children. And so you also want to make sure you identify which relationships in your life are purposeful, people that you can trust, people that are honest with you. Also, when I said learn about asking for help without guilt, whether that's you needing someone to watch your child while you go to work, daycare is expensive. Purchasing, buying groceries are expensive, even if you need help in that area. So, and just accept, it as an act of strength, not weakness, because we've all had our experiences with people where we burn bridges and people have burned bridges with us. And so make sure that you take that time out to communicate. And I always say, and I will always be an advocate of therapy, but I'll also be an advocate of prayer. It's so important to pray. And so the stronger you believe, I believe, and you have faith, everything that you're praying for, it will come into existence. And so your possible outcomes for building a supportive community would be, feeling supported and less isolated. Because again, we can isolate ourselves as single parents because we feel alone. We're doing it by ourselves. And co-parenting is not always what people say it should be. And sometimes it is non-existent. For me, it's non-existent. But when co-parenting did exist, I gave it 110%. Probably 200 if you ask my kids. So, do we have any questions out there? Let me make sure I'm not missing any comments, because that's all for now that I have. If you have any questions, you can feel free to email me, direct message me. I'm here to walk you through your journey. I've been a single parent since I was 19, 24, almost 25 years now. And it hasn't been an easy journey. It's been full of challenges and joys and happiness. But I'm at a place now where I now know, that each child will need a different part of me. And what I give to one, I can't give it to the other one. And what I give to the other one, I can't give to the youngest one. And so, in what was given to me in the 80s, 90s, I definitely can't give that to my kids these days. So, you definitely want to make sure that you are taking that time to have conversations with your children and making sure that they understand who you are, being transparent enough to say where your what your background was, what your parenting was, and why you do act a certain way. And if you love your children, then change is necessary so that you can reach them, so that they're not out here feeling isolated or feeling hurt or not heard. And so, thank you so much, everyone, to those of you who joined me on today, or those of you that will watch the replay. Just remember, you're not just a parent, you are a unique individual with purpose and potential. Take these strategies, put them into action, and embrace the journey of being the best version of yourself. So, stay tuned, stay connected, keep watching my posts, and we'll see you next Thursday. Bye for now.